Hello and welcome to the Keto Man's Club podcast.
We're glad you're here, where each week we talk about men's health and lifestyle.
We do so with the foundation of the ketogenic diet and lifestyle.
If you don't know what keto is, stick around and you'll find out.
The podcast will bring you real, honest fun.
Each week we strive to uncover the tips and tricks that you can use in your everyday life to maximize your overall health.
Find the clearest path to becoming the best version of yourself that you were meant to be.
Hello and welcome to this week's episode of the Keto Man's Club podcast. My name is Chris. I'm one of your hosts, and this week I'm only joined by Berto. Jim is out there eating steak or something, so we'll miss him, but you know he's having a good time, so that's what's important. Berto, how's it going?
I'm a little, insulted about the only part, but I mean, I'm doing all right otherwise.
It's not meant to be, it's not meant to be, insulting. It's just different than having the three of us as normal.
It's going good. We're a few minutes behind schedule today because in the latest episode of Let's Make Berto Harder to Kill, I just attended my first jiu-jitsu class.
Oh.
So I literally left the class, drove home, exceeding the speed limit profusely, ran right into where I record, and here we are. So yeah, it's a humbling experience, and it's like, imagine you're going to decide to learn a completely new way of dancing and what your first class would be like. And that's what this was like.
Yeah. I can imagine with and it's, did you do a lot of actual grapple work, or were you just kind of getting some of the basic moves?
There was all the drills, and then other people around me were grappling. I was just kind of fumbling around like an idiot. Okay. But I mean, that's day one. What do you expect? Yeah. So it was kind of funny. My buddy Mike, who was the one who got me to go there. His 13-year-old son completely handed me some humble pie today.
Yep.
I mean, he's a big boy for 13-year-old. Don't get me wrong. And the one thing is, I'm not trying to beat up my buddy's son, but he proved his point that that I was not the one in control.
Well, and a lot of that, speed, flexibility, and just familiarity all play big factors in all of that. So I can totally see that going that way. So yeah, that's fun. That's fun. I've had a rather chill day. I caught up on some Star Trek that I've been putting off watching for a while, and edited a couple podcasts and trying to block out the noise of all of the political world. By the time this airs, it will all be over and done, so won't matter. We don't even have to talk about it. But yeah, we're recording this on election night, so I've been intentionally kind of spacing out, literally, a lot of that stuff, just knowing that it's not. I've done what I can. I did my vote, and I know you did your vote, and
I did.
I can do.
Did you see who I voted for?
I think yeah.
No, that was a joke.
Yeah, I figured as much. But yeah, we definitely have stuff going on in the real world right now, but won't really matter in the keto world. In other news, I am on week 6 of the carnivore keto cut, and I am normally it's 4 weeks of decrease and then 2 weeks of maintenance. So this would normally be the last week of maintaining the lowest caloric level, and then you slightly taper up little by little from here. I didn't start seeing really real results, whether it be the scale or body composition or anything like that, for a couple weeks. And that's probably because I was under eating before, specifically on the protein side. And so I didn't gain anything in the first couple weeks, but I was definitely eating more than maybe I should have, quote, should have been. And so I am, with Danny's blessing, extending the 2 weeks at the low side by about 2 weeks. And that way I'll get 4 weeks total at the 2,044 calories. So it's not really even that bad. It's still a decent amount of food. But it will, that 2,044, I'm going to continue that for another couple weeks. and then I will start tapering it back up a little bit. But I'm going to be very gradual with that, like 25 to 50 calories, maybe, and keep my protein where it is, adjusting the fat accordingly so that I can try to find a good maintenance spot for me, since I'm not nearly as physically active as I would like to be. So that's kind of where I'm at. I'm seeing good results. I'm almost down to the 220 mark, which is, it's not a ton of weight, but 10 pounds in roughly, 5 weeks. That's really not that bad. Not as much as some. David Blanco is killing it.
Well, I was going to say, I was actually going to bring that up, is talk about someone who has fought the battles, and a hyper responder when it comes to eating the wrong things. We talked to him, we had him on the show where it was some obnoxious number where he splurged on like entirely way too many almonds or something like that, and literally put on like 17 pounds over the course of a weekend. And then by Friday of that week had lost it all. But yeah, someone who eats a few of the wrong things and his body weight reflects that immediately. That guy posted a picture of the graph of his scale, and if it was a ski hill, you wouldn't want to ski it.
Nope. No, you wouldn't. It would be a very, very steep decline. So yeah, it's going well so far. Been very, very good to me so far, and I'm looking forward to seeing what the end results will be. I'd kind of shared this with the other people doing the cut, that my tentative plan is use this cut to kind of get me back down to my lowest point, and work on trying to increase my activity levels somehow. My schedule's been crazy enough that that's been a complicating factor, but increase my activity level a little bit. And then by the time we get into the new year, I think I will have found kind of what my new maintenance level is. I'll recalculate everything as far as the macros are concerned for the cut, and then I'll do it again. And because this is such a, I hate to say it, gentle, but it really is a very conservative or gentle cut in comparison to some other methodologies. It really, I think me doing not back to back, but cuts close together with as much fat stores as I still have is an okay thing. I don't think that I'm going to be causing myself any metabolic disorder by doing that.
And I mean, and let's face it, it's not like you're sacrificing like a lot of things in order for a competition or a certain date.
No.
And you're not going to push yourself past those limits because you don't have to. You're going for a specific result, and you'll get there. And obviously, if you start feeling extreme pain or discomfort, then you're going to be like, all right, might have to reevaluate things.
Yeah. Well, and that's where, weekly caloric refeeds might come in handy, or, other little things to try to, help your system through the process while not completely killing yourself. So I'm conscious of it. And this has been the first time I've been on a systematic cut that I've actually followed through all the way through. And so I'm feeling good. I'm actually enjoying the process. And so I did cheat this last week, a tiny little cheat of all things. And luckily my glucose meter showed that I didn't get any response from it, but I had one bite of spaghetti squash that my wife had made whenever we had some fish for dinner, and she made some spaghetti squash for herself, and I tasted it, and it was pretty darn yummy. So, that one bite isn't a big deal.
If that's your cheat, you're living life right.
Exactly. Versus the oatmeal cream pies that, call to me at the convenience store. Okay. So that's enough about all of that. Let's get into our shout outs real quick. And then we've got Tyler in the wings, and we're looking forward to getting to learn more about his story. So, my shout out is going to go to, the keto guy. Let me actually get his actual name here real quick, because he's got his page that he shared from, Reed Jacobs, and he posted a day or two ago that he finally reached his goal that he made a year ago. After he had lost 140 pounds on keto, he wanted to prove he could build muscle on the ketogenic diet. At the time, he was bench pressing barely over 300. So he set the goal at 400 and he has it on video. So, there's proof. It's, a 400-pound press. It's pretty freaking awesome. So really cool to see someone setting a goal, pushing for it, and making it happen. So that's for sure. That's for sure. Okay. And who do you have, Berto?
Keeping it on the athletics related, member Zach Salhab, I'm probably pronouncing that wrong. He's been an active member for a while. He comments all the time, adds a bunch of content and a bunch of information in his posts. But this was from October 28th, just before midnight, because apparently he's a rock star. It says, so tonight was kind of surreal. I know it's a small achievement, but I got my first stripe on my BJJ white belt at 45 years of age. 2 years ago, I was 65 pounds heavier and got winded going upstairs. I couldn't run. I couldn't lift. My body hurt constantly. Now I'm out finding the active things in life that not only keep me in shape, but are good life skills. Now lifting and exercise and good diet are means to an end and not the destination. Keto on, gents. And the man looks great. He actually, gave me a little bit of advice when I told him I was going to attempt to go to my very first class. So much appreciated there. And yeah, man, rock on. At 45 years of age, guys getting it. Got to respect that.
Absolutely. And that's just another testament. Just like we just aired Carlton Scott's episode this week and reviewing it. He's in his 60s and he's just a beast.
Guy's a machine.
Yeah, he is. And so. And he actually had complained in the podcast that his weak spot was not being able to do pull-ups, and not 2 weeks after we had recorded, he's like, "Yeah, my gym shut down, so I went back home, and now I'm able to do pull-ups." It's like, okay, then. It's like, you just he really is. He's a beast. So really glad to have him as a part of our crew, and that there's hope for all of us at any age, whether it be young or old, that we can reclaim our health and do some pretty amazing things with it in there as well. Well, a reminder to our listeners, just to put it out there and say it. We really appreciate your feedback. You can give us feedback by putting in reviews, or you can share this podcast with friends or family, or email us, call us. We've got several different ways that you can reach us and get in communication with us so that we can hear from you. And if it's feedback, if it's questions, if it's ideas, we want to hear it. So you can visit our website at theketomansclub.com and find links to everything that has a link. Or you can give us a phone call at 512-518-6161, or email us at ketomansclubpodcast@gmail.com. So you've got several different ways to be able to reach out, and we'd love to hear from you. So that's pretty much all the business stuff, I think. I don't think there's anything else to go through. So Tyler, welcome to the show.
Hey.
So Tyler, get us started with a little intro in who you are, where you live, kind of, just the real basic stuff. We'll get into the health stuff as we go pretty naturally, but, get us started.
All right. My name's Tyler. I live in Pennsylvania, but I work up and down the East Coast, build bridges, marine construction. So, yeah, pretty much out on the water all the time.
Okay. And that on the water, you don't mean that you're like riding a boat. You mean that you're on a barge that's holding a crane and like up in the air above everything, I think, if I'm remembering correctly.
Yeah, I pretty much do from the ground up. I'm actually on a pile driving crew right now, but once the pile driving's done, I'll switch over to a structural steel crew.
Okay. So yeah, that's you've shown some pictures, and Berto and I sometimes talk about our group chat and it's to be envied. You can envy us. But Tyler is one of the members of that group chat, and he posts some pictures in there of where he's having it's like lunch. And it's enough to, if you have any fear of heights, to make you a little dizzy. So definitely, he's getting after it. So tell us a little bit about pre-keto, what your health journey was like, what that type of thing. Give us just a little bit of insight on who you were at maybe up to your most healthy point.
I'd say my most healthy point was straight out of boot camp at 17. So I joined the military when I was 17, got out at 21, and I've always kind of been heavy. I struggled with weight even then, although I'd love to be back at that weight that I was struggling with at that time. So yeah, when in my 20s, I got out of the military, put on a lot of weight, and I always thought to myself, I know how to get in shape. I was in the military, of course I know how to get in shape. And I just getting bigger and bigger, and I in my late 20s, I actually fell rock climbing and broke my back. And being in a back brace, eating Cheetos and watching TV, 24/7 for 2 months, I packed on probably like 50 pounds. And even after that, just I wasn't as active because I had a lot of pain. So I continued to put on weight until I got over 300. And even then, I was like, I have broad shoulders. I can carry it well, I don't look that bad. But as my kids got older and we started doing more and more like outdoors things, hiking, rock climbing mountains, and I was always in the back. It started to bother me.
So let's not gloss over this. I broke my back rock climbing thing because that's a pretty big deal and a reason if I've ever heard one. So what exactly happened there? Was it just a freak accident, or was it one of those things where like you knew you shouldn't have been doing something and you ended up doing it anyways, and you paid the price for it? What happened
Well,
there?
I was lead climbing, and I climbed up to a ledge, and then I climbed up about 10 more feet, and I put a cam in. It's a piece of gear that you would use to like arrest if you fell. I placed it, and I yanked on it real hard to make sure it was seated. And when I yanked on it, it popped out. And I hadn't put one on since before the ledge. I figured, there's a ledge here. I'll fall to the ledge. No big deal. When my feet hit the ledge, I tumbled back. I fell about 35 feet. I actually landed on my butt and whipped back and cracked my skull. And I actually had 2 compression fractures on my L1 and L2 vertebrae.
Man, what was the recovery like for that? Like, how long did it take before you were what you would consider back to normal?
I still can't really move the toes on my left feet. I have a lot of nerve damage, but as far as being able to like walk and run, even I guess it was about 2 to 3 months in a back brace, laying in bed, not able to move.
Wow,
Which was, that better than surgery, in my opinion.
Considering you fell from 35 feet, that's better than a lot of the other outcomes, to be quite honest.
Right.
Man, that's insane. So yeah, I could see how obviously that could have a devastating effect on and probably what a lot of people don't, really think about, what don't consider is once you're in that situation, like it's got to mess with your head. Like, and you're what's supposed to be a young, able-bodied person, and you find yourself in this predicament where you can't do the simplest task that you were able to do before the accident. That's got to play a toll. You know what I'm trying to say? That's got to have a toll on your mentality as well.
Yeah, I'm a pretty jolly guy most of the time. That was definitely probably one of the lowest points of my life. I was pretty depressed. Just, burning my savings up, not being able to provide for my family was really the hardest on me mentally, I guess.
Yeah, that's crazy. Then okay, so that was what, your early 20s, you said?
I was late 20s. I guess I was 28 when that happened.
And how old are you now?
37.
Well, that really wasn't that long ago.
Yeah.
You think about it. Okay, so moving on from there, now that we covered that let's call that miraculous story there. So you gained a lot of weight from that. You're able to get back on your feet. Did things start falling back into place for you, or did old habits stick around, or what happened there?
Yeah, old habits stuck around bad. Like I said, I was very active, so I always, I'm not that fat. I'm active. I run 5Ks. I do warrior dashes. I rock climb. I climb mountains. I ice climb. I can't be that bad. But it all came down to a point. I was on a kayaking trip, and I kept dragging bottom of my kayak, and I kept complaining, like I had to get out, drag my kayak while all my buddies were just whipping down the river. I was just bitching, saying, "Man, I need a bigger kayak with better buoyancy. This is ridiculous." And my friend was like, "Why don't you just lose weight, you fat F?" And I was like, "Oh, yeah, good point. I didn't think of that."
Yeah, that's it's little comments like that that sometimes make all the difference in the world to that type of thing. Um, I use the reference way too often, but the pebble that starts the avalanche. So, would you say that was it?
Yes, definitely.
And so, what was next?
Well, actually, the same friend that said that, he was actually doing keto at the time, and I actually had been making fun of him for about a year because he was like eating water, soup, and meat, and eating, I'm eating a cheeseburger and laughing at him. So, yeah, I decided to take his advice, and he helped me out along the way to get started. Of course, I had a million questions. I just Googled my ass off, and I joined every keto group on Facebook I could find. And yeah, I started meal planning and intermittent fasting right away. I think I waited. It was in the summer, so I waited for my birthday that year, and on my birthday I started everything.
How much did you weigh at your heaviest?
I was 315, 320.
How tall are you?
About 5'10" and a half, something like that.
Okay. All right. I mean, so you were just a big dude. You said you were pretty active, and I'm sure you carried the weight rather well
Yeah, I mean,
at that height.
I wear like a 100-pound harness at work and climb steel. You know what I mean? And I feel like I'm a pretty strong guy.
So you're working most days, and as you've mentioned, your job is very physical at this point. But you've been doing basically the same job this whole time since before you started keto and things like that. What have been some of the changes that you've noticed in how you can work your or that type of thing?
Well, I guess pain in my knees and ankles would probably be the biggest change. I mean, it would just kill me. I was eating, Advils and Excedrins like it was candy every day just to keep going.
Mm-hmm.
Not to mention that my stamina is so much higher now.
Yeah, the stamina would definitely be a winner for sure. So, and your days aren't short either. You're usually starting out early morning and ending them, relatively late,
Yeah,
right?
pretty much dark to dark.
Yeah. You've shown some pictures or video of you going out whenever the sun's still coming up, riding the boat out to your
pretty much every morning
barge. That's rough. So, physical activity wise, outside of work, what are you doing?
Well, right now I'm living in a hotel, as you guys know, so I haven't been working out like traditionally in a gym for quite some time, but I still like to walk. I try to walk a couple miles every other day at least after work.
So you're on this boat 6-7 days a week?
Yeah, well, yeah, pretty
or
much.
Barge, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah, and when I get home, we go hiking. What's that?
Right on. No, I was just saying that. And so at your heaviest, you said you were 315. Is that right?
Yes.
And what do you weigh now?
325. Or up to 225. Giddy up.
I was like, wait, that math doesn't add up. Yeah, that's a considerable loss. So I mean, yeah, you couple that, that amount of weight with the reduction of inflammation that most people get. Because I know when I was painting cars, one of the reasons why I got out was because like the back and knee pain from. I mean, I'm not wearing nearly as much gear as you, but it's pretty much up, down, on your knees, on your back on your knees, up, down. 5 days a week, 50, 60 hours a week at least. And the pain in my knees and my lower back is like I thought I was going to be like I just assumed a certain age where like popping Advils in the morning was just what you do just to get to the day, and it was getting dangerously close to that. And I was in my early 30s, and then part of the reasons why I quit painting was because that pain was getting like almost debilitating at times. Like by Friday, like as soon as I would wake up, I'd go to sit up on a bed. It was like a routine, I mean. Like I could get out of bed, and if it was an emergency, it was not an issue. But man, for me to get out of bed comfortably, it took a few minutes, a lot longer than you would think it would take a 32-year-old. That's for sure. And I get out of painting and get into the service side, and then I stumble across keto, cut out all the sugars and grains, and it's like 5 days later, all of that pain is completely gone, and it just like almost made me reevaluate like life. I'm like, man, like maybe painting wasn't ruining me, maybe it was the food, So I'm sure you had a moment similar to that, especially with as much activity as your job involves.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I don't do the same thing all the time, but if I'm doing something, it was hard on me. Climbing steel or something, I didn't do it for a while, and if I do it now, I just like, wow, I really hated this before, and it's not that bad.
So when so let's talk about food for a bit. You've lamented some of the fact that you're living in hotels most of the time, and what your food options are. What short of microwaving everything or eating out all the time, what is it that you're doing to eat and stay on plan?
I was actually hating life, and I don't know if you guys remember, but I microwaved a ribeye. That was another low point in my life. But yeah, since then I've gotten a crock pot and a George Foreman grill, and yeah, I'm just burning meat, man.
Nice. That's seems like a much better option than microwave. How was that microwave ribeye?
It was terrible. It was terrible. It was exactly how you think it would be. It was terrible.
Mortal sins against our taste buds. Yeah, that's it would not be good. It's bad enough reheating a properly cooked steak later on if you didn't finish it for some reason. So talk to us a little bit about the about when you're not in the hotel eating out. What are some of your food options that you go with?
Oh yeah, when I'm home, Sunday's like cooking day. I pre-plan all my meals, get the Tupperwares out, get everything, And when I'm doing intermittent fasting, that's the only way I can really do it is if I actually plan out the entire week all in one day. Cook my meat, cook what vegetables I'm going to put in there, and get everything counted up all in one day. Then I can just fill out my carb manager and be done with it. I don't have to worry about it.
Gotta admire the dedication. So out of your crock pot and your Foreman grill, what are you doing mostly carnivore? Are you getting creative with it? Are you just pretty much just making fuel to get by?
Yeah, I don't like funky stuff. I've never made a chaffle, and I just don't get into all the funky recipes. I just put meat in a crock pot and heat it up.
That's the way to go.
Yeah, I'm watching a pound of deer burger and some bacon heat up right now.
That hotel life.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't stay in hotels nearly as much as you do, and well, not especially not anymore. But yeah, I mean, I'm familiar. I mean, you can stay on plan relatively easily. I've never gone as far as like taking my own cooking gear, but I've definitely rented or gotten into many rooms that have kitchenettes that have everything you need to cook, and I've definitely taken advantage of that and ran to the grocery store and bought a bunch of stuff and just made most of my own food. And so the fact that you're able to stay on plan, it just goes to show you that it's all possible. It just takes a little extra effort.
Yeah, for sure, man. Yeah, it does kind of suck, but you just got to get around it. The crock pot saved my dad. I didn't even think of a crock pot. I was just like, how am I going to do this? I was just walking through Target, and I'm like, hey, there's crock pots. I'm going to try that.
It's better than better than microwaving. That's for sure.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
And they really frown on charcoal grills inside hotel rooms at the Holiday Inn.
I would imagine so.
That makes sense, especially since like even if you wanted to, you would have to like take the charcoal grill down down the hallway, down the elevator, take it outside to use it.
I've been through those scenarios. It can be done, but it is like so not worth the hassle after a while. And back when I was working up in Wichita Falls, up where Tony lives, I stayed at the same hotel and they had 2 brand new gas grills out by the pool that nobody ever used. Like I was the only person to ever use them every time I went there. And so I'm out of town. I'll just go to the grocery store, pick up a couple steaks and some jalapeno poppers and a big old giant Topo Chico. And I would just have a 1-man party out there by that grill next to the pool.
Hell yeah. Yeah, I've done it before with the grill, but getting off past dark. I mean, who wants to stand in the dark cooking with a flashlight? And somebody stole my grill at the last hotel I was at, so I just kind of stopped doing that.
Understandable.
So, talk to us a little bit about family. How have they reacted since you went keto? Have they joined you? Things like that.
At first, nobody was really on board, especially my kids. I mean, they got to have their pizza and Hot Pockets and Pop-Tarts and all that. But actually, recently, my wife and my daughter have been trying to go. They're not going keto, but they're doing low carb, and I think they're actually liking it. My wife's starting to see some results, and I know my daughter's very fit and active. I don't think she needs to do anything, but I'm not going to put her down for being healthy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Now they've obviously seen the change. You're 100 pounds down, and all of that. What type of response have they had, other than just starting to join you somewhat in the journey, or things like that?
They're not joining me. I'm joining them. I used to be falling behind all the time.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're very congratulatory. I mean, every time I see somebody I haven't seen in a while, wow, you look great, and that's really a confidence booster too. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and they when you tell them that you eat mainly meat, they don't freak out.
No, I haven't gotten any of those like negative reactions that I see a lot of people talking about, like on the group and stuff. Nobody's ever, you're gonna die from eating all that meat. I haven't gotten that from anyone.
No, that's awesome. So how long have you been in the group? Do you remember?
I would imagine since about last summer sometime, because I just started joining any group that said keto in the title.
Right. Right.
Yeah,
No,
I
you
think
still.
probably about July or August.
No, that's awesome. And then obviously you got into that group chat where we're all in. Where I mean, I always love these certain podcasts where like we pretty much communicate almost on a daily basis in one way or another. So
Right.
it's like finally getting to hear your voice and have the conversation we would have normally had online. And I don't know, I get a kick out of it. I think it's really cool.
Yeah,
The
man.
the internet is a crazy place.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
what's on the horizon for you, man?
Well, I think I'm going to sign up for one of those carnivore cuts you guys are doing here now that I'm getting my hotel game on point. I'm trying to get down to about 200. That's my goal anyway for now.
Yeah, the upside and downside to your food situation is, yeah, it's limited, but you have complete control. So when it comes to tracking macros, the way you're going about cooking and everything, like you will have it easier than most because you can only be tempted by what you have in your immediate surrounding.
Right.
So I think you kick it off there. I went through it. Chris is halfway through it now. So if you got any questions about it, I mean, no better time than now.
Yeah, actually, I've been talking to Mac a good bit about it. But he did it too. So I've been looking at a few different programs and stuff. I'll probably end up going with the same guy you guys went with, but I don't really have any questions off the top of my head that I can think of.
Yeah, I mean, you eat meat, and then you slightly eat less of it, and then you slightly eat less of it, and then you slightly eat less of it.
It's pretty straightforward.
Until you get to a point where then you slightly eat more of it.
Yeah. I'm just gonna have to stop putting sweetener in my coffee and stop drinking. That's I don't know which one's gonna be tougher.
Yeah. We shall see how all that goes. The sweeteners, that's been a big deal, and that for me specifically, I haven't done any. There's a little bit of stevia in the protein powder that I use to try to make sure that I'm hitting my protein macro and things like that, but it's very minimal, nothing close to the amount of erythritol I was taking in on a very regular basis.
Yeah, it used to be hardcore to that stuff.
Oh yeah, crazy amounts of sweeteners in drinks and everything else. So
yeah, seeing you do this, man, it's really helping me think I can do it.
Oh, I know you can. But yes, you're exactly right. It will take some motivation. It will take some dedication to staying clean from those elements, and that's really why I failed the first time I tried to do the carnivore cut, because I couldn't stay clean from the extra stuff. And so yeah, I know you could do it. And let's. I want to preface this question. I don't believe that there's a problem with this for you. I don't think that you're responsible with your drinking, but you do drink because, well, you spend your evenings in hotels, 6 to 7 days a week. Very rarely getting to spend time with your family and things like that. What's your favorite drink? And
I actually never drank before. Then Alberto told me about that tahini and tequila. And now
sure, blame it on Berto.
Hey, that stuff's good. I have no regrets.
Oh, for sure.
And so the people that don't know, tajin is that like Mexican seasoning that is salt, lime, and like chili powder, all powdered.
Mm-hmm.
And then you mix that with tequila and unflavored or lime or lemon flavored seltzer water, and you have yourself a mighty fine, refreshing cocktail. And when it's hot out, then on the rare occasion I do drink, and that stuff hits the spot. It hits the spot well.
Too well.
Yeah, I try to restrict my drink, but I'm not. Well, actually, I don't have to restrict much if I'm being very, very honest, because I just don't drink that much. I never did. But it wasn't that you've had to work hard at to avoid. But it's a nice social lubricant at times whenever I do get the chance to be social. But we haven't had that in months at this point. So
how about it?
Yeah. Well, let's see. I don't want to miss anything, and that's kind of why some of our questions are a little generic right now because we want to make sure we catch everything that would be important. Let's talk about resources. What have been your favorite resources that you've found along the way as far as actual data that has helped you in the journey?
Yeah, I don't really like nerd out on all the computer stuff, and I never even really did macros, to be honest, until I got that carb manager this past summer. But just friends and then talking with people, I mean, it's pretty common sense. Like, don't eat donuts, eat steak. It and just basically counting out my portions. And I never really been like a calorie counter either. I was just kind of trying to track the fat and the protein and the carbs and make sure I was staying in my limits and whatever the app said.
Sure. So what is your caloric goal that you've got right now?
I don't even know what
You
I
don't
eat
know?
for calories.
You're focusing on making sure that you get the fat and the protein in.
Right.
That's what you're focused on.
Yeah, and lately I've
Good.
been eating a lot of deer meat, so I've been drinking MCT oil every morning just to keep up the fat. That stuff's pretty lean.
Yeah. Be careful with that. That can can end up causing you to run to the porta potty real quick.
It's no worse than when I used to eat a whole pizza and drink a half a case of beer.
True. Very true.
It's all about timing.
Yes. Pretty much. So you're doing a little tracking now, but you really otherwise aren't really too crazy about the specifics, which is a testament for the ability to do. I wouldn't even call that's not lazy keto, because in lazy keto you don't track at all, but you can. It shows that with minimal effort you can have trackable results that you can use to try to find those items, whatever they are, that you can, to do what you're needing to do. Plain and
For
simple.
sure, yeah. Like I love that carb manager app. You just, it has everything you can imagine on it. Just pop it in there, and it just tells you where you're at. And especially like I was doing it at home. If you do it all on Sunday, you have each day already planned out, so you already know what you're going to eat. When you're going to eat it. There's no thinking involved. You just do it. You don't have to. You can kind of like let yourself free of the worrying about it.
Mm-hmm. Totally. So, as far as fitness goals, you said that you would like to end up, at or under 200 pounds. Is there a fitness goal beyond that, that you're wanting to reach at some point?
Not in particular. I guess I'll get there and see how I look and how I feel, and maybe I'll keep going. Maybe I'll start bulking. Honestly, I'll probably have to get down to 180, 190 before I start bulking again. I'll still probably have a good bit of fat at 200, but I'm not really sure. I'll have to get down there and see what I look like.
That's what it's all about, man. Obviously you're not afraid to stick to a plan. You go through it every time you eat.
Oh yeah.
So you'll be successful. You know what you got to do, and you just got to get your plan in place. And I mean, that is the one nice thing about even that carnivore cut we were just talking about is it, well, any program you buy from anyone, regardless of anything, whether it's weightlifting or whatever, is it if it's one less thing that you got to worry about, or one less thing you got to think about or put effort into, is like, okay, my macros are handed to me, and now I just got to worry about hitting these. It makes the process go a little bit smoother.
Right.
And then you're putting your faith into someone else too. So that in itself, you're like, all right, well, this guy, whoever you choose, this person probably knows their stuff, and I'm going to follow their lead. So you're just like, all right, I'm in. Let's go.
Oh yeah, man, that's the plan. And beyond just weight loss, I mean, just having the ability to continue to get better at the things I do. I've been getting more into hunting this past couple of years now that my daughter's into it. So just tracking through the woods with a backpack and a rifle, it's pretty arduous work when you get down to it, especially if you're in knee deep snow or something. When I was big, just thinking ahead about that, it was daunting. I know I'm not going to be able to do keep up and do everything we want to do. That was a huge motivation to me.
What do you typically hunt for?
Deer, white-tailed deer. But now she's getting a little older, and she's starting to get into the shotgun. I think we're going to start hunting waterfowl and turkey, probably in the spring.
Very cool. So, if you were, and you kind of have summed this up a little bit, but let's speak to it directly. if you have a friend or family member that comes to you, they're just getting started, they're wanting to know what the core of what they need to know. How would you sum that up? What would you tell them? What things would you do to help get them started?
That's a hard question, Chris. I've had a few friends actually ask me, what do I do? How'd you lose that weight? What are you eating? And I basically go over with them, just eat meat, eat very select vegetables. I tell them, don't eat any vegetable that came out of the ground. It's a pretty good way to start. And nobody's really stuck it out that I've talked to. So
yeah, that's a hard thing. That's definitely a hard thing for sure. So that's that you can't put that on yourself, but you get. I think that's a really great way to summarize it and keep it very, very simple. Your vegetables that grow above ground, totally okay. Especially the green leafy kind. So definitely some good stuff there available, but those things that grow underneath, they're starchy, they're going to be carby. We just stay away from them. So that's good stuff for sure. So let's go ahead and start winding down a little bit, just because we do want to respect your time. We did get a little bit of a late start today. What can people do to get in contact with you?
Facebook Messenger is probably the best way.
Okay. Tyler Shields on Facebook. And so that's great.
Most people probably won't know me. I don't really post much in the group. I'm pretty active in the Messenger chat, though.
Yeah, we're very active in Messenger chat for sure. So that's very cool. Okay, that's a great way to connect with you there in the group or directly via Messenger. That would be good. And Tyler's good people for sure in that regard. We didn't ask the favorite food. It can't be steak. So other than steak, what would your go-to be?
What?
Sorry, I kind of threw it in there. We haven't.
I guess brisket. Let's start with brisket.
Okay, we'll go with brisket. Sorry to catch you by surprise there.
What do you mean not steak?
Yeah, exactly.
I pretty much eat steak and eggs like every day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Isn't it amazing how you can eat steak every day and all you want to eat is more steak, but there's other food that if you were to eat every day, you'd be like, I don't want this anymore.
Mm-hmm.
For sure.
But steak is like that. I don't know. For me, and even when I did my 6 months of strict hardcore carnivore, the only thing I craved when I ate steak was more steak. That was it. It was the strangest thing ever. I assumed I was gonna get sick of it sooner or later. Nope. And even now, I think I've eaten beef every day since today's Tuesday. I've eaten beef every day since I think Friday, twice a day, every day since Friday. And still ain't sick of it.
Yeah, man. Steak and eggs, man. It's just my go-to.
Yeah, it's a good and easy to make and maintain combo for sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
I do like smoking though. It just takes so much time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's true. I enjoy both the craft of the stick burner, and as far as time is concerned, I also do appreciate my pellet grill.
Yeah, I'll probably get a pellet grill one day when I get older or something.
Next week is older. It's a good time.
Yeah, true that.
Yeah, no time like the present. Okay. Well, any other questions, Berto, that we should not skip? I feel like we've covered a lot of ground really quickly.
Yeah, no, we're good, man. I said post more in the group, man. Post some of your dinners, post some of your work pictures, and just let others know that it can be done regardless of situation. And you're living proof of that. And it's a little different because Chris and I get to see it, but I think a lot of people would benefit if you were to post some of these pictures, when you're at work and you're up on these machines and what you do and your temporary living arrangements while you're working, and sticking to the plan. It's all good, man. You need to share that stuff.
Right on.
Absolutely. Very cool. Well, Tyler, thanks for being on the show. A quick reminder again to our listeners, if you found any of the information that Tyler shared with us helpful, if you feel like any of the information that we talked about today might be beneficial to someone else, please share the podcast with them. You can also leave a review on Apple Podcast, and you can always do the you can always leave a comment on our Facebook page. That's one of the ways that you can leave something out there for people to see. And any little bit that you put out there, it helps the algorithms put us before more people. And I think that's very helpful for sure. Once again, you can find all of the links to connect with the podcast and the host by going to theketomansclub.com. And you can email us at ketomansclubpodcast@gmail.com, as well as call or text at 512-518-6161. So you've got lots of ways to connect with us. We'd love to hear from you in any way that we can. And so hopefully we will hear from you soon and all of that. That's it for this week. We miss Jim, but he'll be back, I'm sure, next week, and it won't, he'll have stories of excellent steak to regale us with. So we will hear from him next week. But that's it for this week. Until next time, make sure to eat meat, lift heavy, sleep, and repeat. Thank you for joining us for the Keto Man's Club podcast. Your support means the world to us. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss an episode. Would you help us spread the word about the Keto Man's Club by sharing with your friends and family? We're available on all podcast platforms, so just search for Keto Man's Club and you'll find us. If you would like to connect with us, you can do so a number of ways. Our web address leads to our Facebook group, theketomansclub.com. That's TheKetoMansClub.com. You can also follow us on Instagram at Keto Man's Club Podcast. Lastly, if you have any comments or questions, feel free to reach out via email to ketomansclubpodcast@gmail.com. Thank you again for joining us today, and we look forward to hanging out with you again next week.